welcome once again. Welcome to part 2 of our pre-season analysis. I think most of you know by now my ugly mug. I'm Kevin Lucy from the Glasgow Rushmores, and I'm sure that my colleague here can quite capable of introducing himself, aren't you, Chris?
I certainly am. Good evening, everybody. I am Chris Weeks, and I am the inept coach of the Santa Rosa Chargers.
Welcome, Chris. So last week what we did is we had a look at the PFC. So I think what we should do this week is, without further ado, have a look at the LFC. So if you'd like to lead us off, Chris, by looking at the LFC East.
Okie doke. Right, okay. Well, we'll start off with Patrick's old team, caretaker team. I don't know how long he'll be in charge of the Fire. I'm not too sure. There's been no mention of anybody taking over, so he might be the incumbent for the whole season. We'll see. So we'll start off with Patrick's team. Right, they had a great season last season. They were 8-2. I think he even surprised himself, to be fair. How well they'll do this, I'm not too sure if he'll match it this season, whether he's in charge or if anybody else is in charge. He's got quite a difficult schedule. The Statesman twice, the Phoenix, the Sharks, the Stormers, who are improving, the Rhinos. So it's going to be, to do 8-2 again, it's going to be very difficult, I think. Yeah, I'd expect maybe 6-7 wins. I'll be surprised if he does 8. Given the strength of the schedule. But who knows? Only Patrick knows, really. I looked at his staff because I was remiss last week, and I didn't look at people's staff. I wasn't as clued in as you, Kev. So I thought this week I would make up for that and have a quick butchers. And he's got a wide range of staff. He's got 13 of them, and they range from 4 to 11. Yeah, and you know as well as I do, that means you've really got to juggle, because you've got to use your coaching emphasis really well, or you'll end up with nothing. Yeah, but obviously it works for him. He seems to be making steady progress. Key players for him. Rosser had 1,300 yards, averaged 6 yards a carry, 16 touchdowns. Not to be sniffed at all. Wish I'd got one of those. And on defense, he got a defensive tackle, Beckman, 91 tackles, defensive end, Black, 75. So he's getting good play out of his defensive line. I've noticed this, the more I do this, the more I look at it, the more I realize that sometimes we're all about the star players and what they bring to the table. And yet Patrick really hasn't got that many stars, and yet he finished 8-2. So, maybe there's a little more to that than just having all-out stars. Maybe it's consistent coaching. I don't know. Anyway, moving on, we'll talk about his draft. I liked Patrick's draft, and I liked it because straight in there, round 1, he took a fullback, low, level 6, 60 strength, red zone grinder. Yeah, so I know level 6 and all the rest of it, but round 1, yeah, you've got to take that if you get the opportunity. If you're all about the running game. And then he just saw it through with that, really, to be honest. Round 2, safety, level 6, 60 quickness. Yeah. Round 3, inside. Another really good pick. Round 3, inside linebacker, peak. Level 4, so he's low in levels, but 80 technique. Yeah. Resilient, trash talker, and traveler. So he didn't have many picks. He had 1, 2, and 3, 7, and 8. But what he did with them, I thought, was quite impressive, to be fair. And strangely, I don't know whether or not it's because he thought he was going to be giving up the reins, but no trades, none.
Yeah.
So moving on from Patrick's Fire, we go to Ian's Phoenix. Now they finished 6-4 last season. And again, they've got the same problem. They've got a really difficult schedule. They've got the Hornets, the Fire, the Statesmen, the Bucks, the Titans, the Rhinos. So difficult to say where they'll finish. I would imagine probably a similar record, I would have thought. Yeah, difficult to predict. Again, key players, running back Verdell, 1,800 yards, again, a 6 yard per carry average, and 22 touchdowns. And his tight end, Meza, 1,400 yards. So he's got tools. One thing I did notice was he only punted 35 times all season, as opposed to my 135 times. Draft-wise, very nice first-round pick. Inside linebacker, Borst, level 7. 75 technique, quality, resilient, trash talker. Yeah, not bad way to start. And then second round, a returner level 8, 70 quickness. Yeah, we all like one of those. And just consistent drafting. You know, everything. You start to notice a certain theme amongst the coaches. The more that you look at it, you see those that pick levels, and those that pick QSTs, and those that sort of balance the two. And again, it was a really nice draft. Interestingly, trading wise, he traded for 2 outside linebackers, but traded out 3 inside linebackers. And then drafted an inside linebacker. So he obviously had intentions all along. I don't know whether or not he scouted that inside linebacker he took in the first round. I don't know, but it was a nice pickup. And then, as I say, to trade out 3, he obviously knew what he was doing. He got it planned. So yeah, again, nice draft. Be interested to see how the Phoenix do this season. Heading in the right direction, but it is a difficult schedule. Right, moving on from. So Sam, now then, I'm glad that Sam's been in touch a little bit. I was starting to worry about Sam because we hadn't really heard much from him, and he was virtually absent in the draft. But now he seems to be more active again. He had a horrific season last year. Didn't win a game. And again, same problem. The schedule this year: Rushmores, yourself, the Fire, the Irish, the Phoenix, the Weasels, and the Statesmen. Some hard games there. So, he'll be looking to improve, and his draft should improve him. But in terms of winning games, maybe win 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I mean the improvements there. His key players. Cornerback Smith, 7 interceptions, 1 touchdown, 37 passes defended. And inside linebacker Donnelly, 72 tackles, 2 forced fumbles, 3 sacks, 2 interceptions, and 23 passes defended. Who wouldn't like a bit of that on their team? I certainly would. I haven't got a decent inside backer. Oh, shouldn't have said that, really. Draft-wise, he was picking at the top, but he did exactly what he should have done with his draft. Round 1, offensive tackle, Hinstock, level 8. 60 quick and elite. Round 2, guard Graham, level 9, 60 strong. These are just the sort of picks you should be making. Again, he was very much focused on the QSTs. And then he put 3 of his picks on the dev squad, so he's planning for the future. It's all making sense to him now, and he knows where he's going, I think. He's only got 8 staff, but they're all high level. They're 7 to 10. So again, I think he's concentrating on building. He's not concentrating on winning, because obviously, you need more staff for that. But if you've got high level staff, you can do a lot more coaching, or you're more successful coaching. So, he suffered last season, but I think the future's bright. I think he knows exactly what he's doing now. I think he's got to grips with it. Again, no trades. Moving on to Lee. Now, Lee knows exactly what he's doing. We all know that. He finished 9-1 last season, and he's got his difficult games are Phoenix, Packers, and the Weasels. I think what's so impressive about Lee's team is he really doesn't have any standout players. You know, he's just bloody good at coaching what he's got. And I looked at it, and you look at the stats and you think, well, how does he do it? And he does it it's just consistency. And again, I mean, if you look at his draft, round one, wide receiver, death cult, level 8, 80 quickness, quality, safe hands, and a traveller. And I don't mean he's got a caravan. Round 2, cornerback, level 7, 75 quickness. Round 3, inside linebacker, level 8, 70 technique. This is just consistent drafting. You look all the way down it. First round pick, second round pick, 3 third-round picks, a fourth, 3 fifths, 2 sixths, a 7th, 3 eighths, right? But all of it designed around getting the maximum he can get. And that's why he does so well. QST wise, level wise, absolutely spot on. And again, he's put 3 of them on the development squad. He's got 16 staff, 7 are 8s, and 1 is a 9. So let that be a lesson to us. It's funny because looking at this, some people really maximize the level of coaching that they get and the amount of MPs it's costing them. It's really is quite impressive how they've maximized it. Other people are overpaying for coaches, and other people like Lee and 1 or 2 others, you think, well, how did you get him for that, and how did you get him for that? But again, impressive, very impressive. Trading wise, now then, interesting, because he drafted wide receiver round 1 that was quick, and he also traded for 1 Bitcoin. So he obviously thinks he's getting there. You must think he's very close, because he's got 2 very, very quick receivers now that are going to help. Interestingly, he traded out 3 running backs. I know, because I traded for 1 of them. But again, that's just a sign of great drafting. When you can afford to part with players like that, that's just because you're drafting consistently and you've got the collateral. You can let those players go and get a good return and move on to next season. So yeah, very impressive. Be interesting to see how he goes this year. He's made all the right moves. So with that, sir, we'll move back to you. The North.
Yeah, I'm going to have a look at the North. Okay, I'm very conscious of the time, so I'm going to keep this a little bit shorter. Because basically, if you have a look in 6 of the 8 divisions, the 4th place team has got a record of 1-9 or worse. However, in this particular division, in the North, the 4th place team actually had a record of 4-6. What that does is it makes this an exceptionally competitive team. And I'd actually go as far as to say this is probably the most competitive division in the whole of Big Sky. So let's have a look at it. We've got the Hornets, as we all know. Season before last, Collins Hornets were 10-0. Last season, they played the Rivets, so they finished 9-1. Right. This season, they don't play the Rivets, so I reckon they could go back to a 10-0. They look very, very strong. What Colin did at the start of season 36 was he did an awful lot of trading. He's done a little bit of tinkering this season, not much drafting, and he's really got no draft picks whatsoever for the next season until about round 6. So this, I think, is going to be Colin's team for the next few seasons to come. It's 3 years younger than Conrad's Rivets. It is, however, the 4th oldest team in Big Sky, so it's full of experienced players, and I reckon that Colin is now going to make a serious push for the bowl with this squad of players primarily. Yes, he'll add a few to it here and there, but I think this is his big push for the bowl. And what he's probably hoping is that as Conrad slides down, he goes up and takes the place there. So Hornets, again, very much one of the teams, especially in the LFC, to look out for. Patriots. Last season, the Patriots finished 4-6, but were bottom on points difference. And Steve has been exceptionally busy. 11 traded players coming into the team, 4 draft picks, 3 of which are on the development squad. And this season, I think Steve's going for experience. He has the second oldest squad, or second oldest team in the whole of BigSky. And he's basically, his average age is 5, as opposed to Rivet's 6.82. And his average starting team is 5.82, as opposed to Rivet's 7. So he's not a million miles behind Conrad in terms of age and level of players, as it were. He's got a tough schedule, and he's got a tough interdivisional schedule. So maybe it might be the same again for him. With a bit of luck, he might go one more and sort of 5-5, as it were. Whoops, sorry. By contrast, if we have a look at 66ers, they've got one of the younger squads in the BigSky. They're the 21st oldest, if you want to look at it that way. And there's some sort of 1.7 years behind or younger than the Patriots. Craig had a steady off season, and sort of he had a pick every round. And now, Craig, here I'm going to have to take umbrage with you, because Craig picked a gentleman called tight end called Benty, who I had actually bloody well scouted, and Craig picked him on pick 15 of round 1, and you were there, Chris. You witnessed this, and I had pick 16. So my scouted level 8 tight end disappeared into Craig's squad. So I hope he does you no good whatsoever, Craig. No trades for Craig that I could spot anyway. What I would say is Craig's fairly new to the game, and from what I can see, he's going about it very sensibly. Sensible sort of draft, sensible sort of off season, as it were. The only surprise that I had was when I looked at his coaching staff a couple of weeks ago, he had none whatsoever, not a single coach. I see he seems to be remedying that, because now when I look this week, he's got 2. So obviously he's adding coaches as he goes, but he'll need to sort of fill that roster up fairly quickly, because otherwise, as we all know, it becomes very, very difficult to coach. Having said that, he's probably had about 8 or 9 pops, whereas everyone else has had very few, as we're hearing. And my own Rushmores, well, I think the off season, I've probably improved the roster. I'm relatively happy that I improved the roster a little bit, both with trading. I did a bit of trading, and also with the draft itself. What I think I've done is I've got a few stronger players on my defense, and I've got a few more options on my offense. So I'm hoping to take last season as sort of 5-5, and maybe make it into a winning season for me this year, 6-4, something like that. Excuse me. Every team in the LFC North, not only have they got tough interdivisional games this season, as always, but they've also got a pretty tough fixture list in general. The schedule hasn't been kind to them. Between all the teams, they play the Fire, the Statesmen, the Phoenix, the Eagles. They play the Sharks twice. They play the Weasels. And of course, because we have the pressure of the Hornets in our division, we play them 5 times. So it's not going to be the easiest schedule or overall. So that's my division. So Chris, over to you for the South. What's going on there?
Okay, well, in the South, we'll start off with the Fulham Shadows, which is Jamie Hemming's team. Last season 1-9, and it's I don't know. It's hard to see much of an improvement, if I'm honest. In terms of key players, there's not much. He's got a decent inside linebacker. He's got 9 staff. Probably needs a few more, if I'm honest. And in terms of the draft, they they were all pretty low level players. With round one's a level 6 safety. Yeah. Round 3. To be fair, that's a level 5 centre. So he did all right. He didn't have a second round pick. The 3rd and 5th round picks were okay. But there's not a lot to add there. He did a bit of trading. But again, there was nothing. They tended to be sort of sideways moves before the actual draft. You know, he didn't do any after the draft. So it's difficult to see. I mean, it's very difficult when you want a 9 because you're so far behind. Yeah, and I looked at his offense and the likes, and he's got a lot of work to do. You know, but we just have to hope that he sticks with it and sees it through, because you know we've all been there. I'm still there. I know how long it's going to take to develop the team. Yeah, he's just got to stick with it. So yeah, that's basically the shadows. We'll just have to hope that he stays the course. Moving on to the Knights, Knaresborough Knights, Brian Jones's team. They finished 2 and 8, and again they've not got the best schedule. Sharks, the Weasels twice, obviously, the Rhinos, the Surfers, the Fire, the Phoenix. So it's hard to see how you're going to improve on 2 and 8 when you've got that kind of schedule. Staff wise, 12 of them, highest is 11, lowest is 3. What benefit that is, I don't know, because obviously you're using your coaching emphasis on the lower ones. In terms of draft, not bad. Interesting though, because he put his first round pick, his defensive tackle, Fett, who's a level 7, 60 strength quality player, on the development squad. And he did exactly the same with his 3rd round pick, and exactly the same with his 4th round pick. So he's decided he's going nowhere this season. Yeah, he's planning for the future, because to put all 3 of your top 4 picks, yeah, in the development squad, then you're not looking at this season. You're looking at next season, the season beyond. Yeah. So fair play to him. He knows he's got his work cut out, and that's exactly what he's doing. Yeah. And that, for me, that's a good sign, because it means that he's looking long term. Yeah. So, you know, hopefully he stays the course. Right then, Thirlby Rhinos, Richard Wesley, 7 and 3. Staff 13. Yeah, 13 staff. Right, but his defensive line and his offensive line are both level 11. So that's nice. Yeah, that's nice to be winning in the trenches. So that's, you know, and again, very good staff and a lot of value there. Yeah, he's not overpaid for those. Yeah, they're all like, you know, 13, 14. He's done very well there. So you can only expect things to get better. He did exactly what you had done to you. He stole my scouted player in round 1, my outside backer, Jaffa, level 7 quality, monster hit. Yeah. And I'd actually traded back into the top of the 2nd round, hoping to get him, hoping he'd fall. Did he buggery? Yeah, because Richard took him. Thanks, Rich. Nice draft. Very nice draft. Again, QSTs, nice levels. Yeah. Put his last 3 players all gone on the development squad. All looks really good. Yeah. Did a bit of trading with you, McGovern, and did a bit of trading with the Surfers. Not a lot of trading. Yeah, but all looking good again for the Rhinos. Yeah. 7 and 3. I'd expect them to probably be 7 and 3 again, maybe even improve on it. The next one, the Weasels, Ben Harris's team, 8 and 2, brilliant. Yeah, absolutely fantastic from Ben. Also has my favourite logo. Yeah, I love his logo. I think it's the best one in the league. He's got some difficult games. He's got the Irish. He's got you. He's got the Rhinos twice. He's got the Rivets, and he's got the Statesmen. So can he repeat 8 and 2? I don't know. That's quite a feat if he can do that. Yeah. If he can repeat that 8 and 2, he'll be going well into the playoffs. He's got 17 staff, including my special teams coach that he pinched. In terms of his players, he's got some lovely players. He's got running back Gunn, 1,500 yards, 17 touchdowns. Defensive end Miller, 12 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. Defensive tackle Stopper, well named, 82 tackles, 6 sacks, and 1 forced fumble. Yeah, again, really nice draft, particularly running back Bob, level 5 in the second round. 55 quickness, quality, safe hands traveler. Round 3, level 4 receiver, but again, 80 technique and quality. You know, really, really good draft. In terms of, I mean, he did a bit of toing and froing in terms of trading. The most probably important one of all the ones he did was Redline from the Surfers. He gave up a first-round pick for the offensive tackle. So he obviously feels that that's a big need, and maybe he thinks that that might be enough to sort of push him over the edge. It'd be interesting to see. A very good pickup, but he did cost him a first-round pick. Sosa, back to you for the West.
For the West, indeed. Okay, so in the West, we had Ben's Sharks. Last year was 7-3. They've got an okay-ish sort of schedule this year. They've got three what I call toughies. They play against the Rapiers, the Hornets, and the Fire. None of those are easy. So basically, I think Ben would probably be hoping for an 8-2, but would probably settle for a 7-3 again. I think he had a good solid draft. He had 2 good first-round picks, 5 others. Was very, very busy in the old trading windows, adding 11 trading players to his squad, and 5 others. So basically, he was busy with the trading market. All in all, we're going to see a very, very different looking Sharks this season with all those changes there. I'm sure he's hoping, because looking at it, he hasn't got an awful lot of drafts next season, draft picks next season. So I think Ben's probably hoping that this squad can see him through, as it were, and get him into the playoffs at the very, very least for the next 2, 3, 4 seasons. And hopefully they might even do more than that and push him on from the playoffs, because I'm sure that's what Ben's aiming for, is that this squad takes him to the playoffs for the next few seasons. Martin's massive. Last season, 4-6. And in the off-season, he traded 2 or 3 players, plus his 9 draft picks, 3 of which are on the development squad. And the rest are all on the playing squad, so no wastage whatsoever there. Now, the interesting thing with the massive is that those draft picks are going to be bloody well trained. And the reason I say that is because I think I'm correct in saying that on the coaching side, Martin is the only coach who has used up every single one of his 200 MP coaching points spare, as it were. He's got 13 coaches and 3 spare coaches just in case he needs them, but he's used up all 200 MPS. So basically, he's not got the toughest schedule this season. So I predict at least a positive season. There was 4-6 last time. I think it's going to be a positive season, and there could even be an outside chance that he starts to challenge again with the Sharks. It's looking fairly good for Martin there, mainly with the coaching side of it. The Irish last season were 3-7. The off season, he drafted all his own draft picks in every round. Traded one of those draft picks away, got 2 in the development squad, and the rest are all on his roster. And he put 2 traded players in as well. So most of his draft picks are intact for next season. So he hasn't sort of traded away his future, as it were. So all in all, I would say it was a fairly conservative yet solid sort of off-season for Ray. He's got a tough game in week 1 against the Weasels. But after that, he's got a reasonable schedule, I think. So again, I think he's going to improve on his 3-7, maybe even a 4-6, or even better than that. But I think we're going to see an improvement there from the Irish. Last but not least, we've got the Buccaneers. Again, last season 3-7, 9 draft picks, but most of those draft picks were from the lower rounds, from round 6 and later on. The interesting thing what Adrian's done is he traded 5 players in, but the players that he traded in were really interesting. He traded in running back Rampant from his divisional rival, the Sharks. So that'll be interesting to see if Rampant bites the Sharks in the bum, as it were. He also traded in some very handy, useful prospects. He took the wide receiver Layak from the Eagles, and he also took in Tipton and Dancy from the Bulldogs, all potentially good future players. When you're trading those sort of quality of players, though, it comes at a heavy price. So basically, Adrian hasn't got a first round, second round, or third round pick for next season at all. So he'll be picking quite low down the order, as it were. 12 staff. Now, Adrian didn't quite manage to use all his 200 MPS. He's only used 198 of them. So again, talk about getting your value for money. Adrian's schedule gives him 3 tricky fixtures outside of his division. So a bit like the NFC North, the interdivisional games are going to be so important here. I think you can take all 4 of those teams and you can basically say whatever their divisional record is, add 2 more wins outside of the division, and that's probably going to be their final record, as it were. So basically, that's the LFC in its entirety, Chris. So, LFC, I asked you last time, PFC conference winner, and we said rivets. This time,
I hate this bit because it's it's such a difficult thing. Do you know what? I think I'm going to go with the Statesman.
The Statesman, okay.
Yeah, I think so. I look at overall, looking at it overall, I think I'll go with the Statesman.
Oh, fair enough. So we're predicting then a Statesman rivet bowl. I'm probably going to stick Hornets rather than the Statesman, I think. But we shall see. We'll probably both be totally utterly wrong.
Probably both be wrong, It'll be the Weasels or it'll be the Rhinos or so, yeah. It just makes it look foolish.
Yeah. So that basically concludes both parts, as it were. We've had a look at the PFC last week. We've had a look at the LFC this week. Obviously, you now know what Chris and I's opinions of the coming season are and what we're going to be looking forward to. We'd both be fascinated to hear your views, though. Have we got it right? Or are we talking our usual load of BS? Let us know in the comments when you on the site, as it were, because it's all we love having comments on that site. But also let us know what you think. So before we wrap up, Chris, last week you said you were going to start a WhatsApp group. Is there any information on that? Any progress? What's been going on with that?
Yes, I did indeed start the WhatsApp group. And to be honest, I am very, very happy with the response. I sent emails out to everybody asking if they were interested. And yes, it's probably about 50% now of the coaches in the BS have signed up for it. And there's quite a bit of fun banter going on. So, yeah, I'm absolutely delighted. And I'm really pleased and happy that people are taking it on board. And I'd like to thank everybody for joining it, because it is exactly what it's meant to be. It's just a way of us communicating and sort of having a bit of fun, outside. Because it's great on the site, but it's a little bit slow. Yeah. But
yeah,
through the glory of WhatsApp, we can take the mickey out of one another much faster.
Excellent. Well, taking the mickey out of one another is the prime aim, I presume. Okay, well, that's going to wrap it up. I think we'll wrap it up for this week. Chris, once again, thank you very much indeed, sir.
My pleasure, sir.
Your wisdom is much appreciated.
I wish.
I wish, yeah. So, guys, before we go, remember 4 green ticks. Get your coaching sorted out, get everything sorted out, and with luck, we will all see you next week. Okay, good night, guys.
See ya.